alone and I'm alive.
Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. I'm flying solo tonight. Look, here's the deal. The indie kid was going to drop a video tonight. He's still working on it. He's still going to bring out that basketball content. He's going to be breaking down the bracket for the SEC tournament, but Tennessee decided to officially introduce the defensive staff for the football team for 2021. So I thought, hey, why not? Why not go live? Why not come hang out with my closest friends and we can discuss? This is going to be laid back. This is going to be a fun stream. There's no expectations. There's no rules. I don't even have notes in front of me. I just saw that the press conference dropped today and they introduced everybody. I thought, why not watch it for the first time? I was busy today. I had stuff going on. I didn't get an opportunity. Usually I like to get on there with the Talkin VAWLS podcast account and troll and promote and have some fun in the live chat when they introduce the staff or do different, press conferences. But today I was busy, didn't get an opportunity to do that. So I thought, why not go live with the Talkin VAWLS faithful and we can just go through this together. So I have no notes. I have no information. I'm going to share the stream. We're going to talk about it, but let's see who's hanging out. Like I said, guys, it's going to be laid back. If there's something you want to talk about, let's talk about it. We'll get into it. Alan V. Troll Patrol is here. Maybe he's gone. Maybe he's back. I'm not sure yet. Oreo Puppy Dog is here and says, yo, what up? JJ Banks is here trying to figure out how to become a member of the channel. For some reason, the iPhone has major problems when you try to become a member of the channel. But I did drop a link there in the chat. If you are on the iPhone and can't find it, there's a link. It's right there. It's in the chat. You can scroll up and find it. And you can figure out how to join the channel. If you're on an Android or a laptop, just go down below. It's right below the thumbs up. Speaking of thumbs up, smash it now. Hit it now. I don't know how many people will get in here. This is a random stream. But hit that thumbs up. And there should be a join button right beside it if you want to join. It's basically just putting the tip in the old tip jar. It's a thank you to myself, Vols JP, Dauber, and the Indie Kid. It's just a way of committing to the channel. Another way you can commit to the channel is by doing this. Cody Branch showing up with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Cody. I appreciate that super chat, especially Cody. You don't understand how much I appreciate that super chat when I'm on by myself because I have nobody to help me get through this stream. But you guys are the co-host. So Cody Branch for $5 says defensive staff really excited me. Well, we'll find out, Cody, because I've not watched it yet. So I'm excited to watch it with you guys and see what I think. Alan V is still here. He says, I'm always here. Fry is here, hasn't watched it yet. We'll watch it together, guys. I'm going to share it here in just a moment. We'll get it rolling. Madden Slayer 456. It's a good thing that doesn't say EA Sports College Football because when that game drops, you guys are in trouble. Let me take a sip of my drink here. And let me just say, when EA Sports College Football drops, you guys don't want none. You don't want none. I don't know if I need to make another tier for memberships. Like maybe, I don't know what I need to set it as, but if you want to compete against Boogie Bentley and EA Sports College Football, maybe that'll be a membership tier. But I'm telling you right now, you don't want none. Robert Craig is here in the chat. Smash the thumbs up. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate it. And Robert can confirm you don't want none when it comes to EA Sports College Football. Gate City Blue Devil, I'm glad you're here. Thanks for joining us. $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Talkin VAWLS, go Big Orange. That's right, go Big Orange. People are starting to filter in here. We got about 50 watching live. Make sure you guys do hit that thumbs up. We're going to share the press conference from earlier today where Tennessee announced their defensive staff officially. So we'll get into it. We'll kind of pause it. We'll break it down. Again, I am on my own. Super chats are appreciated, but more than anything, I don't see your comments unless they're super chats because there's nobody here with me. So I'm doing a lot of things behind the scenes. I'll try to get to as many comments as I can. You guys apparently want to bring it. You want to bring it on EA Sports College Football. Fry wants to know Red Powerade. Not tonight, my friend. Sipping on a little Bullet bourbon. I'm laid back. I just want to hang out with you guys. Chill stream is the name of the game. Let's hang out. I would rather watch this with you than Dauber or JP or the Indie Kid. Let's be honest. They're not here. They're not watching it. It's my time to shine. Let's be honest. It's me and you. Those guys are gone. But in all seriousness, if you are a fan of basketball, the Indie Kid is going to be doing an SEC bracket breakdown. I'll probably drop that tomorrow. He was going to drop it today. We'll probably drop it tomorrow. But also, man, those guys are doing good work. They are doing the Lord's work. They went live after the Florida game. Really, really good stream. And some of you are laughing at me because I'm in the chat. Look, I don't watch college basketball. I just don't watch it. But I am in the chat in support because those guys, they do a great job with the show. So I encourage you to check that out. They're going to do as many live streams as they can throughout the SEC tournament and also March Madness. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Tune in for that. If they play in the afternoon, I think the plan is to go live that night. So they're going to be covering as many games as possible. So make sure you're tuned in, dialed in for that. But let's get into it. You guys ready to share the stream? If you got questions, you got comments, like I said, drop a super chat. I'll try to hit it. I'll try to get as many comments from you members as I can. Derek Rogers, welcome to the chat. But let's go ahead and get this thing shared up. And look, you're my co-host. So if my microphone goes nuts and starts getting staticky, you got to let me know. Like if there's some weird background noise, you got to let me know. It's me and you. It's just me and the 64 of you. I don't have anybody else to lean on. So let's share this thing up. Let's get this thing rolling. But I'm glad that you're here. Again, welcome. Smash the thumbs up. Let's get into the official press conference introducing the Tennessee defensive coaching staff. We'll pause it as we go. We'll make some comments. If you guys have comments, put them in the chat. Let's get into it. Here we go.
Morning, everybody. Hope everybody's doing great. I want to start by just saying congratulations, Coach Barnes and the basketball team yesterday. Great come from behind victory and wish them well as they get ready for tournament play this week here. Excited to be able to introduce our defensive staff, a group of men that really excited about. They've hit the ground running here this past week and a half with our players and already getting some things implemented and getting ourselves prepared for spring ball. Excited about a group of men, who they are, how they're going to impact our players in a positive way off the field. A group of high energy men that have a ton of experience. I think 4 out of the 5 have coordinator experience. 4 out of the 5 have SEC ties and have been inside of this league before. A group of elite recruiters that can help us recruit the biggest and the best here to Knoxville, Tennessee. Coach Banks, it was important to me on the defense side of the ball that I got somebody that had a clear vision and had some experience in what they were doing on the defense side of the football. Believe that our philosophies pair together extremely well. Guy that's had a coordinator title here the last 14 years of his coaching career, I believe. Look at the last 5 years, what he's been a part of at Penn State. You just look at their ability to create 0 negative plays. I think they're top 5 or top 10 in pretty much every one of those categories here over the last 5 years. It's going to give us the ability to be multiple in what we do, be aggressive in nature, tremendous teacher. And I think we'll be a perfect fit for what we're doing here in Knoxville, Tennessee. Done a great job of developing guys at all 3 levels as a coordinator, talking about D-line, linebackers, and the secondary position. Will work with us primarily on the special on the back end with our secondary there. But really excited about him. Our outside linebackers coach and special teams coordinator, Mike Eckler, a guy that I've known dating back to our time together at Oklahoma.
Let me pause it there for just a second. While he's talking about Tim Banks and he's talking about what he's going to bring to the table, how concerning is it, though, that, we talk about where Tennessee is at as a program. We talk about the loss of talent. Somebody earlier in the chat said, exactly who is Banks going to coach on defense? There's nobody left. They're all gone. Everybody's left. When you start looking at the depth of the defensive line, you start looking at the depth of the linebackers. Who are these guys going to coach? Not only that, can they get their system in place in spring practice? That's always a concern. Anytime you have a new coaching staff, it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Another interesting point for the defense is you are going to be competing throughout spring practice against an offense that's going to go fast pace. fast pace. So it's going to be interesting to see what Tim Banks can do getting his defense installed throughout spring. I'm excited for spring practice. And let me tell you guys, we're going to be covering it the best that we can. We'll probably be dropping a lot of videos and also doing some live streams. I don't know. We may stream once a week during spring practice. Let us know what you guys want us to do. Let's hear more from head coach Josh Heupel.
You just look at his track record of where he's been, the success that they've had. Another guy that has coordinator experience on the defense coordinator position, but also has done it on the special team side here, coming from North Texas, but has been inside of this league, handled special teams at Georgia when he was there with Coach Rick as well, and brings a tremendous amount of knowledge to the special team side of it here inside of our program. Another guy that's got tremendous amount of energy, elite recruiter, excited about having him and his family here. Linebackers coach, Brian Jean-Marie, just excited about who he is, having competed against him, and schematically what he did, the problems that he caused as a coordinator. Will coach our linebackers coming from Michigan, known as an elite recruiter everywhere that he's been. Great developer of guys at that second level and at the linebacker position. You look at the amount of guys that he's been able to recruit and then develop and have an opportunity to go play in the NFL. Perfect fit for us at that position. Rodney Gardner, our defensive line coach, guy that's coached 30-plus years inside the SEC. This is his second go-around here in Tennessee. I think he's got over 10 first-round draft picks at the D-line position. Known and is a great recruiter just because he's genuine. He is who he is. He does a great job of developing relationships. I've seen that in the short amount of time that he's been here. His ability to impact our players in a positive way, clear set of standards and expectations, and getting those guys to really buy in. Elite as far as being a teacher at D-line play. His ability to teach those guys an overall scheme, but really the fundamentals and technique at that position going to allow us to recruit the best. And the last guy that I want to talk about is Coach Willie Martinez. We've been together at our previous stop at Oklahoma, where I got to know him and his family in the last 3 years at UCF. Been inside of this league for over 15 years, both as a position coach and long tenure as a coordinator as well. Brings a tremendous amount of wealth of knowledge, great recruiter, great human being, great family, and is going to provide a lot of insight on that side of it. Great teacher of the game, and you just look at who he is and what he's produced everywhere that he's been. NFL players at every stop, is known as one of the elite coaches in the secondary position.
An ongoing theme as I'm listening to Heupel's opening comments is player development, coaching, NFL, and also defensive coordinator experience. Tim Banks, yeah, and although he wasn't calling plays at Penn State, he was a co-defensive coordinator. He has called plays before. Willie Martinez has called plays before. And another coach that everybody seems hyped about is Mike Eckler. And the one word that everybody seems to bring when they talk about him is energy, but he's called plays before. So you've got a lot of guys on this defensive coaching staff that have experience calling plays. Now, does that translate to success for Tennessee? I'm not saying that. We'll have to see how it plays out. But there are a lot of things about this staff that I like. And I know this is just a press conference. We're breaking it down. We're just listening to words. Nothing matters until they take the field this fall. But I'm going to soak it in, and I'm along for the ride. I'm along for the ride. Guys, welcome to the stream. A lot of people coming in late here. We've got about almost 100 people watching. I'm glad that you're here. Do me a favor. Hit that thumbs up. Smash the thumbs up down below. It takes you 2 seconds. It's a commitment to Talkin VAWLS. This stream may be awful, but you're going to take a gamble. You're going to say, Boogie, you're by yourself, but I believe in you. I believe in Boogie. You're going to deliver on this stream. So I'm going to hit that thumbs up. You can also hit that share button. Send it out to social media. Send it to Twitter. Send it to Facebook. Tell your aunt, tell your uncle, tell your grandma, tell your cousin that Boogie's live. We're watching the press conference together. We are friends. Let's have fun. Let's watch this thing. But I appreciate any and all support. If you want to change the narrative, you want to change the topic, drop a super chat. I'll hit it, and we'll talk about whatever you guys want. But let's hear more from Josh Heupel.
A group of guys that collectively have experience, have a wealth of knowledge, invest in their players, They're going to be great recruiters for us, and excited about having these guys here on the defensive side of the football. With that, I'll open it up to a few questions here.
I will take a few questions, and then so we stay on schedule here, we'll start with David Paschall.
Josh, how important was SEC experience, especially when you've got folks that have worked together? I know Rodney and Willie worked together under Mark Rick's staff for almost a decade together, and Eckler worked later under Rick. Just how you kept mentioning SEC experience. How important was that in your search?
Yeah, it was a big part of, for us as a staff, and as you assemble your 10 assistants, and just collectively the balance that you want to have. Having some ties inside of this conference, knowing how it operates, knowing the landscape of it was important for me. I think you hit on something that was important as well. When you're bringing it together, a group of guys, some familiarity with who they are individually and some connections there. Make the transition into that meeting room. The trust factor is really important, and I think we accomplished that as well.
I like that point again. And, this is something that's been an ongoing theme in the comment section. It's been an ongoing theme in the live chat. Trust factor. You guys want to talk about Kevin Steele. Why is Kevin Steele not the defensive coordinator? That was an ongoing question as Josh Heupel conducted his search for a defensive coordinator. Trust factor. Is there a trust factor with Kevin Steele? Everything you hear coming out of Auburn is that he was a snake in the grass, and then he did everything he could to cost Gus Malzahn his job so that he could weasel his way in there and get that head coaching position. And then just fast forward to him coming to Tennessee. We're doing streams, we're doing videos. Everybody's talking about Jeremy Pruitt being on the way out the door. We're talking about McDonald's bags and NCAA violations. We're waiting on Jeremy Pruitt to get fired. And then in sneaks Philip Fulmer, behind the scenes Game of Thrones. Kevin Steele weasels his way in as an assistant coach, making less than $1 million. And then you hear the rumors of T. Martin, who is also working behind the scenes, getting promises of an extension and a pay raise and all this stuff. And when you sit back and look at it, and I love Phil Fulmer, but when you sit back and look at it, Phil Fulmer was sitting on the Iron Throne, putting his chess pieces in place, Kevin Steele, T. Martin, to get his guys where he wanted them. But then we all know how that ended up. Philip Fulmer also got his name dragged through the mud, and we know how that ends up. But if that trust factor is not there with Kevin Steele and Josh Heupel, then you got to move on, which obviously that's what they did, but he talks about it here, talking about trust factor, and it all comes full circle as to why Kevin Steele is no longer in an office in Knoxville, and we're paying him. We're paying him to not be there, but we want to win football games. We want to win football games. IC86, T. Martin done wrong. I don't disagree, but I don't think that's on the university. I think that's on Philip Fulmer. If T. Martin got done wrong, I don't think that's a university thing. Let's hear more from Josh Heupel.
Well, I think our players see how in sync those guys are and just how they operate and communicate, and as they put in their scheme as well. So you put all those factors together, I think that's a big part of it. And then, their SEC experience is important too, just in that they have some ties in the recruiting world here to our footprint as well.
We'll go to Brent Hubbs, the Jimmy Hines.
Coach, when you look at the last month, 6 weeks, whatever it's been now, where are you in terms of getting your priorities done in terms of your checklist? How do you feel like this team is and this program is getting ready to go into spring practice? Where do you think you guys are with all of that?
Well, I feel like we're in a good spot heading into spring ball. We basically have 2 weeks left with some of the recruiting landscape as far as pushing back, our ability to be on the road recruiting. We pushed back the start of spring ball 1 week, giving our guys, in particular the defense side of the football, another week to get their feet on the ground. These guys, we're announcing them today. They've been here for a week and really probably closer to 2 weeks. That staff's been here with us. I think we're in a really good spot. You look at what they've done inside of our strength and conditioning program. I think we'll be prepared, having made some gains, but be prepared to go compete. during the course of spring ball as well. So I like where we're at.
Josh, you got a lot of defensive assistants that have not worked together, and I wonder the scheme that Banks brings in, will it be his scheme or will it be a combination with input from the defensive assistants?
It'll be a combination of some things that Coach Banks has done throughout his tenure, not just what he's done at Penn State. I think for us and where our roster is at, I think it's important that you have the ability to be flexible and to put your kids in a position of success. I think you have to be multiple in today's game. I think that's a part of creating zero and negative plays, getting offenses off schedule, and that's both in your front and then what you're seeing on the back end as well.
And do you try to suit your scheme to the personnel that you have?
For sure. I think you got to do that in all three phases. I think it's important that you find personnel that can fit into your overall strategy of what you want to do, but you got to take a look at what your personnel can do at a really high level and then put them in a position of being successful.
This is nothing against Coach Heupel, but I am sick and tired of hearing coaches say that they will put their best players in position to succeed. Until I see it on the field, because Jeremy Pruitt said the same thing. Jeremy Pruitt said the same thing. I'm going to put the best players on the field in and give them the best opportunity to succeed. But then this past season, how many times did we talk about those freshman wide receivers? It seems like we've been talking about a quarterback controversy and Jarrett Garantano for 17 years. 17 years it feels like he's been the quarterback down there. And we've been talking about who is the best quarterback that gives them the real chance to succeed. So while I like what Josh Heupel is saying, I think we have to be careful. We have to be careful to not buy in too much. Until you prove it, I'm just going to sit back and wait. And I think that's my opinion on this entire coaching staff is I choose to, I'm excited. Like I'm trying. And look, we have, you guys know, we have a Talkin VAWLS group text where we constantly talk UT athletics. And just this week, Dauber sends a text talking about how excited he is. He is so excited. He's like, they're saying the right things, talking about Coach Eckler and wanting to live on the river and drive his boat down to the stadium and yada, yada, yada. He's saying all the right things. But let's go back and look when Jeremy Pruitt showed up on campus. What did he say? He said all the right things because the coach before him was a used car salesman. And all that guy did was throw out these catchphrases and gimmicks and all this nonsense. So when Pruitt comes in and it's cutthroat and it's no BS and it's we want to play physical football, we want to run the football, the whole 9 yards, yada, 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 SEC, Southern Conference, Southeastern Conference, he knew what to say. He knew what to say. And that doesn't mean anything. We all saw how that played out. We saw how that played out for Jeremy Pruitt. So until Josh Heupel proves it on the field, we'll have to wait and see. We got 104 people watching live right now. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. We're glad that you're here. Do me one favor. It takes 2 seconds. Go down, smash that thumbs up. Hit that little thumbs up. It's just a commitment to Talkin VAWLS. We're glad that you're here. Let's hear more from Josh Heupel.
We'll go to Mike Wilson in West Rock.
Yeah, Josh, obviously when you were hired, Kevin Steele had just been hired on to staff here. Was there ever a consideration of keeping him as an assistant coach, and why wasn't the decision ultimately made to not?
Yeah, Kevin's a great coach. Has been inside of this league for a long time and obviously has some ties to Tennessee as well.
He's a weasel.
Wish him nothing but the best as he moves on in his coaching career in the future. Ultimately felt like this is the right collection of talent here to lead our players and help lead this football program.
Josh, how would you describe the level of buy-in that you're getting from the players that are still here? I know obviously that some guys have left, but the ones who are still here, what kind of buy-in are you getting from them?
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's always about the players that you have. I don't care if that's, players that transition out of your program or who you don't get in recruiting. It's always about who is here. The level of buy-in has been phenomenal from our players. The accountability factor, Those guys wanted it. They've bought into it. They're trusting the process of getting ourselves prepared to go compete during spring ball. We call this our first quarter of the off season here, strength and conditioning side of it, and starting to get some installs as far as what we're doing in all three phases of the game as well. But the guys have been great energy, great buy-in, excited about what we're doing. Great chemistry, I think, in the locker room as well. And those are all things that we're going to have to continue to develop here as we move through this offseason process.
Austin Price and Blake Tom.
Coach, will you wait till after you kind of go through spring and see where you are from a roster standpoint to see where you all may target in the transfer portal after spring? Or do you already kind of have a feel for, what position you're going to need help with?
As our coaching staff has come in here, you watch cut-ups of each individual player, trying to give yourself a baseline of who they are, what their skill set is, potentially some subtle tweaks to what position they might be playing in or positions that you're going to put them in. But I think you find out a whole lot more. I think it's important inside of your program every day to not judge them for who they were. That's, on the field or off the field, judge them for who they are today. You got to give these players an opportunity to grow inside of your strength and conditioning program, get some installs, get their feet on the grass, and have an opportunity to work and coach with them. And you'll find a whole lot more out as you go through spring ball.
Josh, you mentioned that Tim Banks' philosophy aligns with yours. Can you elaborate on that a little bit and describe in what ways Tim's philosophy with on defense aligns with you?
Yeah, I think it's really important. In my introductory press conference, it was important to me. Like, we want to be aggressive in nature in who we are and how we play the football game. You got to let your players cut it loose and go play on game day, but that's also philosophically how you're going to align and put your kids in a position of success. I think it's important that we are multiple on that side of the football. I think that's a part of causing issues for who you're facing on the offensive side of the football. You have to be a great teacher of that. If you're going to be multiple, you got to be a great teacher and be able to teach it in a way where there's a lot of things going on, but your kids have some rules that give them something to grab onto so that they can adjust quickly. And I think you just look at his track record, being aggressive, creating zero negative plays, being multiple. Those are all things that were important to me in hiring a defense coordinator.
All right, thank you, Coach. We want to stay on schedule here. We have Coach Banks coming up next.
Guys, appreciate it. Have a great day.
I mean, can you throw in a go Vols at the end? Can you throw in a go Big Orange? Something hype. I would appreciate it. I like what he said, though. I like what he said. He's very well spoken. Somebody in the chat said it's nice to have a coach that can complete a full sentence. Lucas Sharp in the chat says many UCF fans thanking us for taking him away from UCF because he was bad. Hope Heupel proves them wrong. What do you expect him to say? What do you want him to say? That they're devastated? No, that's what always happens. Their girlfriend left him for a hotter dude, and they're bitter. It's what happens. John W. Bell IV says, who all is going to the orange and white game on April the 24th? I don't know what we're going to do, obviously, with COVID and everything going on. Our plan last year was to live stream the orange and white game. Obviously, we can't show the game, but we can do our live reactions while we watch it on TV. That's probably what we'll do this year. I know we're going to try to bring a lot of coverage, videos, live streams covering spring practice going into the orange and white game. So make sure you tune in for that. So Michael James in the chat, hope Tennessee proves a lot of people wrong that our beloved program is dead. We're not dead. We're just at rock bottom. But look, if you get the right guys in place and you start making the right moves, we can bring it back. Come on, Boogie. He's not a Talkin Vols. Who's not a Talkin Vols host? IC86. I'm just trying to keep it straight, man. I'm just trying to keep it straight. I'm looking for super chats. I'm just here shilling for money. That's why I am here. That's what I've been told, that I just come on air to shill for money. That's what people tell me. But the reality is, I just love hanging out with you guys. If I was going to watch this live stream upstairs, I'd be sitting in my recliner with my feet up, drinking my bullet bourbon, with the headphones in, while my wife watches murder mysteries and learns how to kill me. That's what happens in Boogie's house. She watches these documentaries. I'm pretty sure she's going to kill me. But I put headphones in and listen to the Tennessee press conference. Let's skip this downtime and see who we got coming up next. But for real, you don't have to drop a super chat, but a thumbs up would be appreciated. Let's hear more. Here we go.
Tim Banks.
Tim Banks.
To ask a question to Coach Banks, please hit the raise your hand function.
Oh, I got you.
And
I see.
a reminder, please state your name and affiliation so Coach can get familiar with you. We'll start with Ben Mckee.
Coach, Ben Mckee with Rocky Top Insider. Coach Heupel talked about you also going to be working with the defensive backs. I'm curious as to which aspects of the defensive backs you'll be working with, whether that's the safeties or the corners, and do you have a preference which ones you'll kind of be working with extensively?
Yeah. Hey, Ben, how you doing, brother? Appreciate the question. No, to be honest, I'll be working with both.
Let me start with the opening comments. Thank you, Ben. How you doing, brother? Like, just a nice dude. Just a nice human being. Just a nice human being. That's all I'm saying. Let's hear more.
I've coached the back end for a long time. Obviously played the position. So obviously having Willie Martinez with us, gives me a lot of flexibility. If I'm training the corners, I feel very comfortable that he can train the safeties and, we'll be on the same page. But, anytime you're dealing with the back end, you want to make sure those guys understand and basically hear one message. We can't have anything lost in translation. So, as much as we both can coach the back end and not necessarily the safeties and the corners, but coaching the DBs, I think it just makes it that much smoother in terms of everything that we want to get done.
Go to Patrick Brown and David Paschall.
Hey, Tim, Patrick Brown with 24/7 Sports. I'm curious, what does the process look like for you in terms of getting to know your personnel before you start spring, and how much do you maybe reserve judgment for you, yourself, and your staff of what you want to see what these guys can do when they're on the field once you guys get to spring ball here in a couple weeks?
Hey, Patrick, that's definitely a great question. I think anytime you're trying to build something, you got to know what parts you have, right? So right now, we're evaluating, everything that these guys obviously did last season. We've been fortunate enough to be able to, get around these guys and see them work a little bit in the weight room and, some different movement activities on the field. So at that point, we're just evaluating, trying to figure out, what they do, how they move, and obviously we'll center the package around it. But right now, that's what we're doing. We're just gathering as much information as we can to make sure when it's time for the lights to come on, that we can put these guys in the best possible position to be successful.
Hey, Tim, David Paschall down here at the Chattanooga Times Free Press. I know when Josh was hiring the offensive side, there was a lot of familiarity with all the folks he was bringing up from UCF. A little bit different from you on the defensive side, but you do have Willie and Rodney that coached together at Georgia for a long time. I know Mike also coached at Georgia later, but have you already noticed that familiarity with Willie and Rodney having worked together, and does that help having coaches that have been together like that?
Yeah, I think anytime you get guys that have a relationship, I think it helps, and obviously Willie and Coach Gardner having a chance to work together, for a number of years at a different place, I think obviously helps. But at the end of the day, we're building this thing together. I've known Willie, for 20 plus years, going back to my days as a player. And, I've known Rodney probably not quite as long, but obviously, going out and recruiting the South like I did and having a chance to bump into him and, and having some mutual friends, we've really hit the ground running. And, we're definitely building a bond that obviously.
I like the sound of that. Two guys, Rodney Garner, Tim Banks, both talking about recruiting the South, running into each other, high-level recruiters. I dig it. Thank you, John W. Bell the fourth, for the $1.99 super, or not super chat, but it's a super sticker saying, "Wait for it." What are we waiting for, John? Let us know. Clue us in. Let us know. Let's hear more. We got 113 people watching live. Look, I'm in a competition. I got to beat the basketball show, and we got about 68 thumbs up. I got to get that to at least 100, or I'm a failure. And if I'm a failure, I'm not going to be happy. So smash the thumbs up. Let's hear more from Tennessee defensive coordinator Tim Banks.
Obviously, will bode well for us when it's time to get going.
Go to Blake Topmeyer, then Jimmy Hines.
Tim, Blake Topmeyer of the Knoxville News Sentinel. I was wondering, just what's your assessment of the level of talent that you step into here with this defense? And then also, I know you want to be multiple schematically, but do you see yourself more as a four-man front type of defense?
Yeah, again, I think we're still in the, getting to know each other phase. Yeah, Blake, if that makes sense. So, we watched the tape. Obviously there's some talented young men out there, or else they wouldn't be at a place like Tennessee, but to what degree and what they can do moving forward, we got to continue to evaluate it. But I feel good. I feel like we'll have a chance to look these guys in the eye and have a strong plan that gets them in the best position to be successful. As far as the 4-3 or 3-4 and, all those type of things, once again, what do we have to work with? Again, as we continue to go through spring, we evaluate it, we'll make some decisions moving forward that obviously, puts the players in the best light, which in turn puts our defense in the best light. But right now, we're trying to continue to evaluate the talent level and see what these guys can obviously do and do well.
Coach Jimmy Hines with the Sports Animal in Knoxville. How much?
Before this idiot Jimmy Hines makes a comment, let me say this. John Bell IV that is in the chat. For those of you that don't know, we learned this just a few weeks ago. That is Trinity Bell, the tight end, big tight end prospect for Tennessee. That's his father. So let's go show him some love. Let's do something crazy here, John. Since you're so supportive, you're always in the chat. You're dropping super chats. You since I don't know the last month. You've been here week in and week out. John, can you drop Trinity's Twitter handle? Does he have a Twitter? Can you drop that in the chat? I want to put it out there. Let's go blow up his Twitter. Let's show him some Talkin VAWLS love. Let's go support Trinity Bell. I love when we have players, parents, and relatives in the chat. Like it's almost humbling. It's a huge honor for us at Talkin VAWLS to have family members of players that tune into our show. It's crazy. It's really, really humbling. But if you can put Trinity's Twitter handle, I would love it if Talkin VAWLS would blow that up. Yes, John really is Trinity Bell's dad. Yeah. So let's get his Twitter handle down there. Let's blow it up. Let's hear more from Tim Banks.
Of your scheme do you hope to install in the spring?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think just the base, we're always going to put the base in first, and start from the ground up working this thing. As we start to get, more exotic, based on, the appetite that the kids have to be able to digest, some of the more, strenuous mentally things that may be within the package, we'll be able to look at that toward the end of spring would be my guess. But naturally, you want to start from A to B first and work your way to Z. So we want to get the base foundation in, see what these kids can do, see what kind of appetite they have, and then we'll move forward in terms of, putting them in some more what we would deem as exotics.
And also, how difficult is it now to play defense with all these complex offenses, the RPO, the variety of things that you see from week to week?
It's challenging. But I think that's the thing that makes you excited about having an opportunity to play defense. It's a lot of things that, you're going to see week in and week out, but the variations from week in and week out is there as well. So I think that's why you need to be multiple. You play on a team that maybe is more of a power team versus a team that's more spread versus a team that's more tempo. You have to put a system in place to give these kids a chance to make adjustments, obviously during the game, but for us as coaches, week to week. So, that's the challenge, and it's not for everyone, but for us, we're excited about the opportunity and we're looking forward to, competing and going against some of these high-powered offenses.
Gustavo, then Brent Hubbs.
Oh, Lord. Here comes Gustavo.
90.3 The Rock here in UTG campus. First of all, welcome. Tim, so what are your first impressions of the University of Tennessee, being here, the environment, the players? What are your first impressions being here in UT?
It's just a great place,
Just real quick, there it is. There's Trinity Bell. Like I said, the big tight end prospect coming to Tennessee. There's his Twitter handle. Go give him a follow. Show him some Talkin VAWLS love. Tell him we're behind him. We support him. And again, I think it's awesome that his father, John, is in the chat. It's really cool, man. It's a really cool thing. A lot of you didn't even know this. I probably shouldn't say it on air, but I'll say it anyway because we've moved on. Jack Garantano's aunt was a longtime listener of this show, messaged us multiple times, thanking us for our neutral opinions and our support of Jarrett, even when this fan base was against him. So that's just a quick little reminder to you guys. Look, this show is open. You're free to your opinions, but you never know. You never know who is listening. You never know who's listening. So keep that in mind. We're all Vol fans. We all want the best for Tennessee, but remember that these are kids, and we support them. But you never know who's listening. So let's hear more from Tim Banks.
Obviously, is to me the thing that I'm really enjoying so far. It still has that small college town feel, but it has some city amenities. I think we'll be able to attract, some of the best student athletes, around the country because, whether we're recruiting in a small town or if you're going to get a city kid, I don't think it'll matter. I think because Knoxville has a little bit for everyone, and obviously when you start to combine it with, playing in a conference like the SEC and having a chance to, get a great education here. I just feel like we have a product that, we'll be able to sell and sell around the country. So it's been awesome, but I'm really enjoying the town feel. But obviously the city amenities is something that I think will bode well, for the future for all the young men that we're looking for.
Coach Banks, Brent Hubbs with VolQuest.com. Two things. One, what's the first couple of weeks been like and just trying to get your feet on the ground and get a defense sort of together? And two, what's been the buy-in, in your opinion, on your guys' part, on your players' part for that side of the ball?
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind, to be quite honest with you, but in a good way. It's obviously a lot of moving parts at play, finishing up the defensive staff and making sure we're getting the right people in here, which we did, and then obviously getting to know your players. And, we understand, we talk to our guys about love, trust, and urgency. And obviously the love is unconditional. We love these guys. The minute I signed the contract, I fell in love, but obviously the trust part, is typically earned over time, so just kind of getting to know these guys and they're getting to know me and figuring out, for me, how to motivate them. And, those guys understand very clearly what my expectations are. That takes time, but I feel like we got a good room. I think.
Man, I love everything that Tim Banks is saying. I love everything that he's saying, talking about love and trust and family and relationships. It just mirrors what Josh Heupel talks about. And you can say it, you can preach it, you can spit it, but until you live it, it doesn't matter. And some people may laugh and they may mock when they see these videos on social media of this football team playing dodgeball, and they see these videos of these team building exercises and leadership exercises, but that's what this team needs. And when I hear Tim Banks mirroring everything that Josh Heupel stands for, man, I love it. I get excited. It's about more than football. Like, I get it. We want to win football games. That's the end game when it comes to us as Tennessee fans. But there's so much more to that. When you're talking about Trinity Bell and his father being in the chat, there is so much more to this. When you are sending your son to these men to basically take the next step as a father figure, it's about more than football. It's about family. It's about faith. It's about relationships. It's about team building. It's about leadership. Everything Tim Banks is saying excites me. That's what we need. That's what we need. Let's hear more.
I think we got a good bunch of guys that are hungry to reach their full potential. And, but I understand it's a work in progress. But the trust piece is always big no matter where you go. And that's what we're kind of working through right now. But I'm excited.
Let me pause it because I see this comment from longtime listener JJ Banks. He says, I agree, Boogie, but remember how you were during Pruitt's press conference. You're right. You're right, JJ. That's something I said earlier. We have to be cautious. We have to be cautious because in Pruitt's press conference, I was so excited because he said all the right things. He said everything that was the opposite of what the used car salesman had told us for the previous several years. So we have to be cautious. I'm just saying that I like what I'm hearing. But yes, they have to prove it on the field. But so far, I like that what Josh Heupel says mirrors what Tim Banks says. So let's go ahead and hear more. We got 123 people watching live. If you haven't done so yet, smash the thumbs up. I would greatly appreciate it. I am flying solo tonight. My co-hosts were busy. They were late at work. They couldn't jump on. So I'm flying solo. If you want your comment read, I'll do the best I can to hit it in the chat. But if I miss it, a tip in the jar, a good old super chat would be great. Yeah, I'm shilling for money. That's fine. That's what I do. That's why I'm here, to shill for money and to hang out with 116 of my closest friends. But if you want to say, thank you, Boogie, thank you for this random stream on a Monday night after you worked so hard. You worked so hard today, and you still did a live stream. Thank you, Boogie. Here's a super chat. Here, this says that I love you and thank you for doing this for us. Here's more from Tim Banks.
And I think the group is excited as well.
Last two questions, Wes Ruckford and Mike Wilson.
I'm wondering, just to back up a little bit here, this is Wes Ruckford with 24/7 Sports. But backing up a little bit, when you took this job, what made this the job to take at the time for you? I know that for all the upside this program has and the tradition it has, it's not been a great, decade, 12 years or whatever it's been. What made this the right move for you right now?
Well, I think just like with any organization, it always starts at the top with Coach Hype. Obviously the success he's had at UCF and, obviously as an offensive coordinator, I think speaks for itself, and having a chance to, talk to some of my guys that had a relationship with him and everything that I heard about him being a great man, obviously a great coach, but just a great man was something that intrigued me. And then I think you said it already, when you start to talk about, Tennessee and the success they've had, a lot of programs are talking about what they want to do. And the reality of it is Tennessee has done it. Obviously, we know there's some work to be done to get back to where we want to go. But at the end of the day, having a chance to work with great people and having a chance to do it together was just an opportunity that I didn't feel like I could pass up on.
Last question, Mike.
Yeah, Tim, Mike Wilson from the Knoxville News Sentinel. I have two parts to the question. One, do you expect Henry Toto and Barreras Crouch to play for your defense this year? And two, with your recruiting ties to Detroit, is that something you're going to try to work to get guys from, with the talent at King, Cass Tech, Belleville, places like that, to get some of those guys down in Knoxville as well?
Yeah, well, dealing with the first question, we don't have a timeline on those guys. They're not here, obviously, at this point. So, we're super excited about the guys that are here in this program that are working. But, we'll figure that out as we go. But right now, we're just concerned with the guys that are here. As it relates to, the Detroit area or Michigan in general, we're going to recruit nationally. We're obviously going to try to get the best possible student athletes we can, here at UT. But obviously having great ties, to Michigan and the city of Detroit, we look forward to recruiting any of those guys there that, fit what we're looking for in terms of, student athlete. So yeah, we'll definitely open up those pipelines and get this thing going, as we will all over the country.
Thank you, Coach.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it. Go Vols.
Very interesting that he didn't really comment on Henry T and Crouch. So that's concerning, because when you look at the defensive roster, I've said it earlier in the stream, the defensive line is so slim to none. The linebackers are so slim. This defensive side of the football, there's a lot of talent on the offensive side of the ball. I think this football team is going to score a lot of points. I think we are going to be happy with the number of points that this football team scores. Are they going to be able to stop anybody? I don't know. Scenic has a good comment here. Control what you can control is what he's saying. And yeah, that's something that Pruitt didn't do at all. Not at all. Not at all. Lucas Sharp says, we got 131 people watching and only 82 likes. What's wrong with you people? What's wrong with you people? Hit that thumbs up. I would greatly appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. You can become a member of the channel. Let me throw them in the chat right now. You can become a member of the channel. There are custom Talkin VAWLS emojis. We got a power T. We got a Talkin VAWLS basketball emoji. We got a diamond Vols emoji. We got a smoky emoji. There's all kinds of fun emojis, and it's also just a tip in the jar. It's a tip in the jar. And yeah, I'm joking about shilling for money and all that good stuff, but the reality of the situation is that myself, Vols JP, the Indy Kid, and Dauber, all four of us, we have families. We work full-time jobs. This is a hobby for us. So any support we get, whether it's picking up merchandise, whether it's a super chat, whether it's becoming a member of the channel, the more support we get, the more we want to do. So it means more live streams, more videos, more content. Regardless, we're glad that you're here. Hit the thumbs up. I'm semi-joking. I'm not shilling for money. I'm just saying the more support you show, the more content that we are able to put out, because the reality of the situation is we're all busy. We all have lives. We all have jobs. So we're taking time out. My wife and kids are upstairs right now watching TV while I'm down here streaming. But I enjoy it, man. I love hanging out with you guys. You guys are passionate. I love your opinions. I love seeing your comments. So I'm just glad that you're here, man. This is fun. This is fun. Boogie and his 137 friends. I'm glad that we're here. Let's get back to the press conference and let's see what Rodney Garner has to say.
Next coach up, defensive line coach Rodney Garner. To ask a question to Coach Garner, please hit the raise your hand function and please state your name and affiliation. We'll start with David Paschall.
Hey, Rodney, David Paschall here at the Chattanooga Times Free Press. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you again. Wanted to know, it's been 25 years since you walked into Knoxville the first time. What's changed more, you or Knoxville?
I think we both changed. But it's good to be back on Rocky Top. It's exciting for me and my family. It's something that we've talked about. It's sort of like life's coming full circle. Being able to come back here, and obviously we were here in the late '90s, and just the opportunity to be able to get Tennessee back to the elite status. That we feel like it belongs to. And just trying to play whatever role or whatever, what it is, with you being able to contribute to that.
Go to Jimmy Hines and Patrick Brown.
Rodney, Jimmy Hines with Sports Animal Radio in Knoxville. Talk a little bit about trying to teach veterans the new scheme. Do you think it's easier to teach guys that have been in the program a while a new scheme, or is it easier to teach incoming players in this game?
Well, obviously, as coaches, that's what we are. We're teachers. And I think, young men, they're very adaptable. Obviously, we're trying to take it at a pace and trying to help it.
I do love that everybody in the chat is in love with Rodney Garner. And then Scenic comes in and says, top 3 recruiter. But the first thing out of his mouth is about developing talent and teaching. Teaching. That's what we've been lacking. And recruiters are great. Look, recruiters are great. And I think Rodney Garner is going to do a great job recruiting. But I think we need coaches that can teach, coaches that can develop talent, because that's what we've been missing in Knoxville for a long time. It's just the reality of the situation. We got to be able to develop talent. And I think Rodney Garner can do that. And I think that is something that everybody thus far in this press conference has said. We got to teach. We got to develop talent. We got to get them ready for the NFL. And that's what it's all about. Lucas Sharp says, we are 10 likes away from 100. Yeah, smash that thumbs up. Let's get it to 100 real quick. And let's hear more from Rodney Garner.
Correlate and relate to as much as possible, what they knew before. And a lot of it, schematically, maybe the same thing. It's just called something differently. And obviously when we're trying to teach it, I'm just trying to figure, okay, what did you guys call this last year when you did this particular movement or this particular stunt? So we can, so this is same as, a jab stunt, same as a cowboy. We may call it a ram, or we may call it an egg, but it's the same as. And I think, when you put it in those terms, a lot of it, that it hits them like, okay, I got it, but, they're very resilient. I think the guys have adapted to the change pretty well. Obviously just the different personalities, they're trying to feel their way through. And I just think they're looking to see, that you're going to be consistent in what you're doing. And that's the thing that, we try to bring to the table every day.
Also, do you think it's harder now to play the defensive line considering all the variety of offenses that you face from week to week?
Well, obviously, this league has changed. There's everybody now is evolving to the spread. So it's changed even, schematically, what type of body types that you're looking for, because
I'm on mute. I'm on mute. Everybody's saying, did his wife kill him? Did his wife kill? I have been doing plugs for the last 5 minutes. For the last 5 minutes. Nobody heard any plug that I did. Nobody. Mucho Boom says, haha, laugh out loud. He says, laugh out loud. Lucas Sharp said, did his wife kill him? Maybe. Michael James says, crickets. What's happening? Boogie doesn't even know how to run a stream. This is Boogie's channel. He doesn't even know how to run a stream. What is the problem? Michael James says, welcome back. Can you guys just pretend? Can you just pretend that I was praising my stepbrother for his amazing designs? Can you just pretend that I was telling you how great all of our merchandise is? 5 minutes of no sound. And we still have 120 people watching, Fry. 120 people watching. And we had 5 minutes of no sound. But if you really want to know why, yeah, rest in peace, Boogie. You guys are hilarious. You're so funny. You're so funny. The reality is my daughter brought me a Coke Zero. and I muted it so you wouldn't hear me talking to her. And then I did 5 minutes worth of plugs. Nobody heard it. Ray Miller says, Kevin Eldridge, what's with the negative energy? They're blaming him. It's his fault. It's all his fault. Boogie, are you alive? We can't hear you. I know, guys. I know. It's Kevin's fault. I'll just say this. Bonfire.com/Talkin VAWLS/store/Talkin VAWLS. Links in the description. Go check it out. Guys, I'm exhausted. 7 o'clock at night. I do want to thank Jimmy Burnett for becoming a member of the channel. Thank you so much for your support. IC86 says, we can't pretend anymore. This is the show of reality. Yeah, it's real life. Somebody on the sauce tonight. I'm drinking a straight Coke Zero at this point, out of the can. I'm struggling with life. If you guys knew how hard it was to run a stream by yourself, you would understand. Trent Boyd says, been playing softball. What I miss? Nothing but 5 minutes of silence. Nothing but 5 minutes of me talking while I was on mute. That's all you missed. That's it. That's all you missed. Let's get back to the press conference where hopefully they won't be on mute.
Everybody's in the hurry up tempo. It's hard to sub guys in and out. So now you're really starting, as you're targeting your recruiting, you're looking for guys that have that third down value, because you may not be able to get guys in and out, after second down. So you got to be able to transition and play the third down. So, obviously, just trying to make sure that you're athletic enough up front to be able to do the things that need to be done, and also have the stoutness to be able to hold the point and not get displaced. So, to me, it is a premium, being a defensive lineman in this league.
Hey, Rodney, Patrick Brown with 24/7 Sports. Kind of following up on that.
We're going to get to this question, but Derek Rogers says, Bookie, here's $5. Here's a $5 super chat because you're doing advertisement plugs and you're muted. So here's a $5 tip of the cap. Tip of the cap. Thank you, Derek. I appreciate it. I'm struggling tonight. This is what happens when I'm by myself. But thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Let's hear more from Rodney Garner.
What was maybe some of your first impressions of the guys you're inheriting? Obviously, you have a lot of guys that play a lot of football, a lot of veterans. What did you see when you watched film of them from last season, if you did? And maybe what did you think when you saw them and some of the workouts you guys have done since you've been here?
Well, obviously we watch film to see guys play and see how they strike blocks, how stout they were and different things. But, you're trying not to go into it with a preconceived idea. It's like I told them the other day when we were doing one of the workouts, and just told me, we're going to have to move guys around, put them in different positions to see how they fit schematically, so we can try to put the best combination of guys out there on the field. I took them back to when I went back to the last place I was in 13. I probably had like 10 different starting lineups, just trying to find the right matchups and getting guys playing with the right chemistry so we could be successful, defensively. So right now we're just trying to find out where guys fit the best and that they can execute and play at a championship level.
David Oven and Ben Mckee.
Hey, Rodney, David Oven with The Athletic. Kind of playing off that last question, how do you learn what guys can do? Is that solely a decision based on what you see in practice, or what's your research look like on it? How do you learn?
Well, obviously, it's obviously, they're creatures of habit. Obviously what we do in practice, what they put on tape. Like I tried to tell them, there's three things that will never lie to you. That's the Bible, the mirror, and film. So, obviously what they're putting.
And Boogie. He forgot to say Boogie. I'll never lie to you guys. I would never lie. I tell the truth when I have myself on mute talking to my daughter. I would never lie about that. I just tell the truth. I may blame somebody else, but I tell the truth. The mirror, the Bible. What else did he say?
putting
Let's
on
hear more.
film, that's who they are, what they are. But we've got to find a way to help them improve where they can execute at a high level. And the one thing that I think is very consistent, these guys are hungry. They want to win, and they want to play better, and they want to improve their game. So it's going to be exciting for both sides, for them and for me, to be able to work together and see what we can achieve.
Coach Mckee of Rocky Top Insider. I'm curious as to when you are trying to figure out where guys fit best and when you're evaluating talent in high school, what are you looking for? What does a Rodney Garner defensive lineman look like?
Well, obviously, you start with measurables. That's a given. Then, we're looking for, a skill set. Do they check the boxes, as far as, initial quickness, lateral movement, short area quickness, COD, what kind of ankle flexion, hip flexion, knee bend, hip explosion, being able to create vertical power. Schematically, obviously, we're an attack and react front versus sitting on the line and reading. And then, obviously, it's hard. You looking at the character, the makeup of the young men, what type of character they have. And then one of the things that's the hardest to gauge is what kind of competitiveness and what kind of heart they have, which as you try to go through the recruiting process and get to know them and get to know their families and their makeup, hopefully that'll be more revealing.
Man, I love what, JJ here in the chat said, you can tell the difference when Garner talks. You're hearing a man of great respect and experience. But I think you're hearing that from Tim Banks as well. I think this is a constant theme that you are hearing with this coaching staff. And I don't know if John's still in the chat, and I don't know really how much he can say when he's talking about the recruitment of his son Trinity. But I would love to be able to hear some of the recruitment stories from this coaching staff, because they seem to care more about your son as a man and developing him as a man and as a human and as a father and as a husband. They care. They seem, and look, it may be all BS. It may be coach speak. I don't know. But they seem to care more about your son as a human being and a man and a husband and a father as much as they do about football. And if me as a father, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that next step, the next step from me as a father. This guy is going to be my son's father for 4 years. So it's about more than football. Michael James says that's the way it should be. I agree. It is. It's the way it should be. And I like what I'm hearing from this coaching staff. But as I said earlier, we liked a lot of what we heard from Jeremy Pruitt too. We liked a lot of that too. We got to be cautious. We're like halfway through this stream. We may be up all night. I'm glad you guys are joining me for Talkin VAWLS Live. Late night. We're going to stay up all night long. If you haven't done so yet, please hit that thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. If you're a fan of the basketball team, tune in. The Indy Kid's going to be dropping an SEC bracket breakdown tomorrow. They're going to be covering the basketball team throughout the tournament and also into March Madness. So make sure you're subscribed for that and hit the thumbs up on this video. I would greatly appreciate it. If you want your comment read, if you want to throw a tip in the jar, you can hit that little $sign down in the comment section. Little $sign. You can drop a little tip. It's $1.99 or as much as you want to give. I would greatly appreciate it. It's just a thank you. And let's move on. Let's hear more from Rodney Garner.
Work with Blake and Matt Ray. Blake, you there?
Sorry about that, Bill, froze for a second. Rodney Blake Topmeyer with Knoxville News Sentinel. This is kind of a follow-up. You mentioned being an attack and react type front. I was wondering if you could elaborate kind of what you feel like the hallmarks would be of the defensive line in this scheme. How would you like to see your guys play?
Well, obviously, you want to play violent. It's a violent game. We want to strike. We want to create knockback. We want to perfect, block destruction. Be able to hold the point on the different combo blocks and just be very disruptive up front. And also at the same time, being mindful of, that we've got to protect that second level guys too, and not just let guys climb. So when I say attack and react, we're not just going to be running upfield, but we've got to read our pressure points as we're working vertical. And we got to recognize the different blocking schemes that we're getting, and we got to be able to play those blocks.
Rodney Garner, Sports Illustrated. Shortly after you were hired here at Tennessee, I asked Eric Brown what kind of coach Tennessee was getting in Rodney Garner. He told me they got the best damn coach in college football. He will not only grow those guys as players, but as men as well. My question to you is, how important is it for you to not only be able to relate and develop these guys on the field, but play a role off the field in developing them into a man?
Well,
do you know how you can tell he's a man of integrity and he's a humble man? Like, that guy just called him the best damn coach in college football, and he didn't blink an eye. He didn't blink an eye. If I had my camera turned on and one of you guys dropped a super chat and said that Boogie Bentley's the greatest damn YouTuber, do you know how big my head would get? But Rodney Garner just takes it in stride, man. He's like, I don't care what people say. It's all about results. It's all about results. That's when you can tell a man is truly humble. You can see in Rodney Garner's eyes, he is a humble man. Wow. I love it. I love it. Like I said, if you just dropped into the chat, we got 115 people watching live. This is the first time I'm watching this. I'm watching it live with you guys. We're going through this together. So I've not seen this yet. So that's I love it. I love it. Let's hear more.
Obviously, I look at this, as my ministry, and this is what I want to pour into these young men, and the thing that we sell to these families. They're going to give me a young man, and I want to give them a man back. So, we have the holistic approach. That obviously they all want to play at the next level. You ask them man for man, that's what you hear. But I want them to be good students. I want them to get a degree. I want them to be good men off the field. My role is I want them to be good husbands, good fathers, good citizens. So we're looking at that, and hopefully, we can develop them spiritually, socially, and then athletically. And I feel like if we can encompass those other areas, then they're going to be good football players. Because hopefully,
I hate to keep pausing it. But what more do you want from a football coach? What more do you want? When he comes into your living room and he's trying to sell you on bringing your kid to Knoxville, and he's talking about developing them spiritually, developing them as a man, as a father, as a husband, what more do you want? I know we want to win football games, but as a father, this is everything I want in a football coach.
We're targeting the guys that have the skill set and the talent to be able to play at a high level. So if we're doing our job as far as developing them in other areas, then they should be very coachable, and we should be able to achieve their athletic goals along the process.
Last question, Eric Kane, and then we'll get Coach Eckler.
Hey, Rodney, Eric Kane with the Sports Animal here in Knoxville. Welcome back to Knoxville. My question for you is, this defensive line group, it's had quite a bit of turnover in terms of coaching as instructors the last couple of seasons. How important is it for those guys to have stability in one coach, in one voice, to kind of get better and continue on with their journey?
Well, I think stability is important in anything, and that was one of the things that Coach Hype talked about. I look at when we were talking, when he was formulating his staff, he was looking for men that wanted to be here at Tennessee and not look at it as a springboard to the next job. And obviously, like I told him, I feel like UT is a destination spot. It's definitely a spot that I'm excited to be back at. I'm excited to help it get back to the elite status that it deserves. My family's excited about it. You know, obviously my second oldest daughter was born here at Fort Sanders. So to us, you know, it's just a combination of everything, of life coming full circle. And I'm hoping that we will be able to form and play at a level that we will be able to create consistency. And the only way we're going to do that, though, you know, obviously we're in the bottom line business. You know, we've got to perform, and we got to play at a high level. But that's going to be our goal every day. You know, I'm committed to giving 110, 120% to help these young men in all areas in their lives to develop as players and as men, and to help UT get back to where it belongs.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys.
Good Lord have mercy. I'm excited. I see you guys getting excited in the chat, and I'm trying to talk you off a ledge and telling you guys to calm down. We got to wait. We got to get through spring practice. We got to get into the season. We got to wait till fall comes around, and we got to see what happens on the field of play. But when I list, like, the best thing Josh Heupel could have done is let his entire coaching staff talk like this. He let his offensive staff talk. They won me over. Now he's letting his defensive staff talk, and they are winning me over. I'm so excited. I'm so excited, and I'm trying to tone it down. Because we have a platform here, and we can manipulate you guys and get you guys excited and fired up, and then we'll be here 3 weeks into the season yelling and screaming and upset. But I'm excited with what I see right now. I'm excited. But we got to let spring practice play out. We got to see how everything shakes out. So we'll see. We got to be patient. But I'm excited with what I see so far. We're a little over halfway through this thing. I swear we're going to speed it up. I'm going to stop talking so much. I got to stop talking. That's the way it is. We got 124 people watching live. I'm glad that you're here. Do us a favor, smash the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Takes 2 seconds. It supports Talkin VAWLS. I would greatly appreciate it. We got Trinity Bell's father in the chat. John, if you're still there, do me a favor, put Trinity's social media tag back in the chat. If you're still here, I would love that. I want to blow Trinity's social media up. I love when we have players, parents, or aunts, uncles, family in the chat. And I want to show them love. So let's support Trinity Bell. I'll put it up on the screen here shortly, but you can see scrolling across the bottom. You can see it scrolling across the bottom right now. It's our social media. It's the Talkin VAWLS social media. It's the Talkin VAWLS Twitter, my Twitter, Dauber's Twitter, JP's Twitter, the Indie Kid. Do us a favor. Check them out. They're scrolling. I'm going to leave them up for the next few minutes. If you've got a Twitter account, go give us a follow. We would greatly appreciate it. Michael James says, talk all you want, Boogie. Man, my wife said, are you about done? I was like, no, we're going all night. I'm having too much fun with you guys. I am just having a blast talking with you guys. Maybe because Dauber's not interrupting me and I can talk as much as I want. JP's not here cutting me off. The Indie Kid has no opinions. It's just me. Maybe I like being able to talk. But I'm glad that you guys are here. Again, smash the thumbs up. Let's hear more. We'll continue to go through this press conference.
Go Vols.
Go Vols. Thank you, Rodney. I appreciate that.
Experience was really important. And I know you and Rodney and Willie all worked under Coach Rick at Georgia. I know Rodney and Willie were ahead of you, but why do you view SEC? Why is the SEC experience so important in this league?
Well, it's a whole different deal. I've coached in all Power 5 conferences, been in the SEC a total of 5 years, 3 at LSU and 2 at Georgia, excuse me. And to have that experience, it's just different. It's different than the Big 12. It's different than the ACC, and it's the deep end of the pool.
Right now we got the new defensive coach and special teams specialist Mike Eckler on screen, but also Trinity Bell's father, Trinity Bell tight end prospect coming to Tennessee. Let's show him some love. His dad is in the chat. John has been here the last few weeks, probably about a month. He's been tuning into Talkin VAWLS that I know of, and I'm glad to have John on board. I appreciate it, but I want to show Trinity some love. So if you go follow us on Twitter, Go follow Trinity on Twitter as well. Tight end for the Tennessee Vols. You can see it there on the screen. Official trend. Go give it a follow. Show him some love. Show him some support. Show him that the Talkin VAWLS faithful are behind him. Let's hear more.
Mike, Jimmy Hines with Sports Animal in Knoxville. Could you kind of give us an idea of what you want your special teams units to look like?
One thing that we'll do is we'll play our tails off, and we're gonna be all about technique, and we're gonna play hard, and we're gonna play clean.
What do you feel like you have with these skill position players you've inherited?
Just having watched every clip last year of our special teams, really feel like they really have a good foundation and a good culture from a special team standpoint. The guys played hard. I think we've got some really good skill players, and I'm excited to get out there in spring practice and work with them.
Mckee and Austin Brown.
Coach Mckee, a Rocky Top insider, from the outside linebacker perspective, just what have been your initial thoughts of the guys you have inherited there, and what will kind of be your main focus those first couple of weeks of the spring practice?
Well, really have seen him on the field only one time, just having gotten here last week and watching him on film last year. Excited. I think we've got a lot of talent there, got some speed. Just excited to get out there in spring practice and work with them and see these guys develop.
Coach, and watching your Twitter activity.
Matthew Sims, you're not wrong. Look, I've been fired up since this thing started 35, 45 minutes ago. He's struggling. But when you watch him mic'd up, everybody talks about him being high energy and excitement. So I don't care what he does in the press conference if he's high energy and excitement. You can go follow Trinity Bell's father. John says, follow me. Like, come on, don't just follow my son, follow me. So there you go. Go follow Big John as well. Glad you're here, John, man. It's like I said, it's always exciting when we have family members of players watching four random dudes from East Tennessee that just love Tennessee football. So thank you for being here, John. Let's hear more.
Over the weekend that you were calling your first game coaching in Neal in 2005. What was it about that game? And then take me through kind of maybe what you see as a difference in maybe Neal Stadium versus some of the other big venues you coached and that you coached in quite a few.
Sure. Well, I just remember walking in there. First of all, you walk in that stadium and it's absolutely beautiful. I mean, it's incredible. It's all symmetrical and it's probably one of the most breathtaking just structures you've been in. Then you toss in 103,000 people and they start singing Rocky Top and it's an electric environment. I remember I was up in a press box at the time and the thing's like shaking and swaying and it was pretty awesome. So ever since that, I think we ended up coming out on top where I was in overtime, but it was an unbelievable battle and just had a great experience.
Like Tom Meyer and David Oven.
Yeah, Mike, like Topmeyer, the Still News Sentinel. I was wondering, is it a true story or an urban legend that you and Jeremy Pruitt got into a fight when you guys were on staff together there in Georgia?
That's an absolutely amazing question because Scenic just put in the chat, is this the guy who fought Pruitt? And then the next question that comes up from the media is, did you fight Pruitt? You can look this man in the eye right now and tell that he fought Jeremy Pruitt. I would love to be a fly on the wall. Who you guys taking? Who you guys taking in the chat? We got 120 people watching right now. Who you taking? Who you taking in the chat? Are you taking Mike Eckler, or are you taking Jeremy Pruitt? Put in the chat. Let me know right now. This is amazing. I love it. I love that question came up.
You know what? The only thing I'll say about my experience at Georgia is worked for Mark Richt, an unbelievable guy, and really had a great experience working for him. Incredible person. And, I'm just excited about what we're doing here. And
yes, I did fight Jeremy Pruitt.
Follow up in a different direction. You're someone who's worked on the defensive side of the ball at a lot of places, but now gotten into kind of this special teams thing. Why is that a direction you wanted to take your career, and what do you think it takes to make a good special teams coach?
Well, going back when they added the 10th coach, that's really when I decided to go the special teams route. Because I'd always gone, linebackers, defensive coordinator, and so forth. And I've always loved special teams, but at that point, a lot of head coaches hadn't put the emphasis on it. And I saw it as an opportunity. That's kind of how I made my name as a player. And I love that aspect of it. You get to coach every single player on the team. And it's all, you get to teach them I call it transferable skill. So a kickoff, for example, it's no different. We'll pull a clip of a receiver stemming a corner, stepping on his toes, running a post cut. Guys, that's all you're doing. It's the same thing. We'll pull a clip of a linebacker setting up a block and look him in the eyes and sticking him. And it's all about space. It's all about where's the ball, where's the block, how much space do I have, teaching them relationships. So to sum it up, you're teaching your entire team all the fundamentals of ball. So that's what I really enjoy, working with every player and getting out there. And the other thing that's fun about it is you got one shot at this. It's not like offense, not like defense where you have 3 opportunities. You got one shot. So your chili better be hot. You better be ready to rock and roll. And I enjoy that because I wake up about 3 a.m. every day and I don't need a cup of coffee. I'm ready to go.
What's wrong with you as a human being? I question your integrity.
Yeah, Mike, do you anticipate, I guess, I don't know if having access is the right word, but using starters on your special teams unit, either for tournament or, gunners, those kind of things?
In the past where I've been, we haven't used a lot of starters. And here's the reason. You have an opportunity to develop your whole entire roster, and you have an opportunity to leave some tread on the tires, so to speak, of your starters. But we're going to use exactly who we have to, or who we need to be the best in the conference. So I don't know what that looks like right now. And that's the fun part of spring ball. Our job as a special teams coordinator, my job is to identify every single player on a roster, identify their skill sets. And that's what we'll do, and we'll plug them in.
Trey Wallace and Eric King.
Trey Wallace, Rocky Top Insider. I spoke with one of your former players last week in Will Compton.
Oh, yeah.
He started to get into the stories of your recruiting tactics and what you did in Nebraska when it comes to that last in-home visit of showing him a tattoo on your arm. I'm interested to hear what it's like for you to be on the road. What are you trying to preach kids? And if you can you finish that story on how your 24-mile run in Lincoln ended?
Oh, yeah. That was well, first of all, just in recruiting, I just, it's about connecting with these kids. And as a coach, once you connect with them and once they understand and they get here, and former players like a Will Compton, I mean, I told Will when he stepped foot on campus, and I've told every player this, that, guys, it's my job as a coach to earn your respect. And so let me be clear about that. If I can't make you the best linebacker in Will's case in the country, then I'm worthless to you. That's my job. And so then it's my job to earn your trust. And what that happens over time. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to happen in the fourth quarter when, hits a fan and we're down against Auburn. And what am I going to do? Am I going to point a finger? Am I going to point a thumb? Are we in this together? Or are we really in it together? So that takes time. And then after you get those two components, the third thing, once you figure out I actually care about you, I love you, now we got something. So in the recruiting process, it's really conveying that to the recruit.
There's that ongoing theme: family, faith, love, relationships. You can preach it in recruiting, but till you show it to these kids, they don't care. They don't care. And I love this comment. This is my favorite coach because he beat up Jeremy Pruitt. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Maybe he's my. We got 127 people watching live. If you've not done so yet, do a favor, big favor for Boogie. Smash that thumbs up. I would greatly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. JP, the Indy Kid, Dauber, they're going to be covering the basketball program going into the SEC tournament and also heading into March Madness. The Indy Kid's going to be breaking down the bracket for the SEC tournament. Video coming tomorrow, so tune in for that. But I'm just glad that you're here. If you want to change directions, if you want to control the show, you want to pick a topic, drop a super chat. I would greatly appreciate that as well. Let's hear more.
Recruits and getting in front of them and really just getting to know them on a personal level, getting to know their families and know who they are and what they're about. And to finish the story on the run, all right, so we were practicing. It was spring practice. We had a Friday practice. Was not one of our best practices. My wife and kids were out of town. They're actually in St. Louis. And I told our guys, we had an early morning scrimmage in Memorial Stadium on Saturday. I said, hey, fellas, we're going to have the greatest practice in the history of Nebraska football today. I said, when we do, so I'm going to go run a marathon. And lo and behold, I mean, Levante, David, and Will Compton, and a bunch of other dudes out there just wrecking shop. We had an unbelievable practice. So after practice, we go and we had a bunch of boosters there. So we had a big barbecue. And so we're under the stadium eating barbecue. And then one of my good friends, Joe Moglia, who was with us, he's the CEO of TD Ameritrade, went on to become the head coach at Coastal Carolina. He lived in Omaha. And so you take I-80 from Lincoln to Omaha, and I said, hey, Joe, will you drop me off? And so he dropped me off 27 and a half miles away from the stadium on I-80. It was 90 degrees out. I will admit, though, there was a wind at my back. And so I took off, started running. All I had was a little headset, and I had my GPS, with that tracked how your splits and so forth. So I got to running, I think I was 23 and a half miles in, and I hear these sirens come up behind me, and it scared the heck out of me now because I'm just running on the shoulder of the interstate. And I look behind me, and it's a police officer pulling me over. And he goes, son, what are you doing? I said, officer, I'm running a marathon. He goes, you can't run out of here. I said, what do you mean? He goes, it's illegal. And so it made me get in a police car, and I'm sitting in there. I didn't have a shirt on. I was sweating like Moses Malone in the fourth quarter. And so I get in there and I look in the mirror, and it looked like I had rabies because it was 90 degrees out. I'd been running 22 and a half miles, like cottonmouth, like you couldn't believe. And so he said, give me your name. And I said, Mike Eckler. And he goes, Coach Eck? He goes, what are you doing, man? And I told him, and he goes, I said, officer, how far am I for the 56th Street exit? He said, you're 2 miles away. I said, that's where I'm turning. That's where I'm going to the stadium. I said, just let me finish. He said, I can't do that. I can get fired if you get hurt. So I said, well, I am kind of tired. How about if you just give me a ride back to the stadium then? So that's how it ended. So I never finished it.
Thank you. Last question, Brent.
Yeah, Coach, they're kind of following up a little bit on that. Where does your intensity come from? I mean, obviously you're known for your intensity. Where does that stem from? What kind of brought that out of you as a young age? And why have you been able to consistently carry that through your career, regardless of where you're at or what you're doing?
I think it's just DNA. I think it's how you're wired as a person. It's no different than everybody's got a different coaching style, right? Everybody's got a different personality, and I just happen to enjoy Red Bull, and that's kind of how I coach.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, you guys are right. He definitely loosened up as that interview went along. Apparently 8 people hate my guts. So if you're here and you haven't hit that thumbs up yet, go ahead and do that. I would greatly appreciate it. But 8 of you hate me, and that's fine. That's fine. Let's continue the press conference.
Raise your hand function. We'll go to Eric Kane, then Patrick Brown.
Eric Kane, the sports animal, and welcome to the Knoxville, Coach. Been a lot of turnover at that inside linebacker spot with guys leaving to the portal, and going here and there, graduating, and whatnot. What have you seen from those guys so far in your time in Knoxville, and how do you think they've responded during all-season conditioning and all that?
First off, thank you for having me here. They've been great. The guys have been attentive and very eager to learn, Coach Banks' new system. They've, come in with a bounce in their step, with some of the things that Coach Heupel has, installed so far for the program. So it's been great every day that we've got a chance to get together. Those guys, like I said, they've been sponges, kind of getting to the point where they're a lot more comfortable asking questions. And, obviously they wanted to get a chance to know me as an individual coach and learn, Coach Banks' system as far as defense. But everything has been positive so far. I have no complaints.
Hey, Ryan, Patrick Brown with 24/7 Sports. You spent, I think, a decade with Charlie Strong at a couple different places in the Michigan last year. What made this the time to jump to Tennessee?
I see Lucas asking in the chat, who is this guy? It depends on who you ask. Some people say Brian Jean Mary. Some people say, in the words of the indie kid, Brian Jean Mary. So I don't know how you want to pronounce it, but it's the linebackers coach for this upcoming season.
And come work with the staff. And what do you remember about your games against UCF when you were down there at USF as a defensive coordinator?
First off, obviously Coach Strong was a, big mentor for me. He was gave me my first opportunity along with Coach Holtz to actually work in this conference. So I was a graduate assistant with those guys back in the early 2000s. But I felt like the time was right. Obviously, I have a history with Coach Heupel, respect, everything that he's done as far as not just the offensive, guy, but, as a coordinator, but also what he did as a head coach, down in Central Florida. I think he's got, the right mix of, explosive offense, but they also, did a great job as a full team to win, here in this conference. So it was enticing and probably, it was, offer, too good to turn down. And just, from, like I said, from the experiences at UCF, like I said, a very, very explosive, aggressive team, they're a team that, going to take their shots, obviously, as far as getting downfield, but a team that you had to defend from sideline to sideline. That was going to be equally as explosive, with the pass game as they were with the run game, and probably one of the more difficult teams to prepare for, that I've had, to prepare for throughout my whole career. So to be on, obviously a team with him, like I said, was too enticing. And I know they're going to put some points on the board and give us a chance to win a lot of games.
David Oven, then Gustavo.
Hey, Brian, David Owen with The Athletic. How would you describe the role and responsibilities of middle linebackers in this defense?
With any defense, I know there's different defenses and different, fronts and different responsibilities with every defense you have. But the middle linebacker is always going to be the captain of the defense. That's kind of through history has proven. So that guy's going to have to be the captain. He's going to have to be the guy that communicates with the front, four guys, the defensive line, outside linebackers, and communicate with the secondary. So there is a leadership role that comes with that position. And, he's going to be, the captain of the defense, whether it's obviously not necessarily the captain of the team, but he's got to take the leadership role and be one of the guys that, obviously the rest of the guys on defense look to kind of right the ship, on the field without the coaches being there with him.
Coach Gustavo Tomaselli, WHK 90.3 The Rock. You worked in some big schools from the Big 10, Big 12, and the ACC, but the first time you worked in an SEC school, how how you feel about that? You take on a school in the SEC, which is a so tough conference.
It's a great challenge. Obviously the SEC is regarded as the best football conference in college football. So, you have an opportunity to come here, especially at a program, like the University of Tennessee. It's a
a great challenge and one that, you're always looking forward to, see, how you would do as a coach in this conference, and you're playing against playing and coaching against the best players and the best coaches in college football. So it's exciting. It's exciting. You get a chance to, obviously match wits, but obviously, go against some of the, better programs in the country. So, if you feel like you're, a good coach and you're tied to obviously a good program, it's something that, like I said, it's opportunity, once in a lifetime opportunity, I would say that, you wouldn't turn down and you're excited to be a part of.
I see some of you guys in the chat. Where to go? Travis Adair. Ole Miss sucked against Arkansas. 6 picks. Defense wins 2. Somebody else said you need defense and offense. Somebody else said offense wins games now. The thing is, man, like Heupel's offense is going to score points. Like there's no doubt they are going to score points, which is why he likes an aggressive defense, because you want a defense that's going to get a few stops, but play aggressive, man. Play aggressive. Play balls to the wall. Get some stops. Get some turnovers. Force some turnovers. And give this offense an opportunity to get out in front of the pack. Get out in front of the pack. Get a couple stops. That's all we need. All we need you to do is get a few stops, force a few turnovers. That's why you play aggressive. If you let them go score, fine. Guess what? We're going to come score, and we're going to respond to that. But we need a defense that is going to play aggressive, give us an opportunity, force some turnovers, give us a chance. That's it. That's it, man. Like this offense is going to score, and this defense is going to give up points. That's the reality of the situation.
Go to Ben Mckee, then Austin Price.
Coach Ben Mckee of Rocky Top Insider. Have you had a chance to reach out to Henry To'oTo'o and Kavarsh Crouch? And also just with those two kind of being in the transfer portal and maybe undecided, has it been difficult to get a grasp of your new room with those two guys undecided?
No, first part of the question, I've had conversations with them, but with them being in the portal, my focus has been the guys that are here. And, the room with the guys that are here has been fine. I mean, that's just part of football, and you guys all know that from covering football. No matter how well or, how thoughtfully planned out something is, between injuries and other circumstances, you have to go with the guys that are available.
That's concerning. That is concerning. Henry T doesn't surprise me. I mean, based on the comments that his dad made, I think Henry T's gone. He's going to go to Alabama. It is what it is. But Crouch, the fact that Crouch isn't participating, the fact that he's on campus but not participating in team activities, that makes me think he's gone too. I just don't think it's a good look. I think he's gone too.
Available. And that's kind of how we're looking at it. Obviously those two are great players, and we'll see what happens with them, obviously in the future. But for right now, I'm focusing on the guys that are with us. And like I said, they've been great. They've been great. And, like I said, have been sponges soaking up everything that we're doing, and been very, very happy with, the guys that are here, going through the weightlifting and the conditioning every day, as part of the volunteer program.
Coach Austin Price, Northwest and Rivals. How important do you feel like spring practice is when you're a new defensive staff? A lot of the experience on the staff maybe on the defensive side, but the continuity lies on offense. So for you guys to get continuity working together in the meeting room, on the practice field, and then two, specifically at your position, you talk about everything, you like what you see, or at this point, or they're doing everything you're asking them to do. Do you think it feels like, because there has been change at your position and change with the staff, that the newness kind of, you're starting fresh together instead of old ideas versus new ideas?
I think so. The first part of your question, spring practice is one of the most important parts as far as building a team. As you saw last year, without a lot of teams getting spring practice because of the COVID-19 epidemic, you saw how slow some teams started, and probably guys were having to figure each other out, coaches and players, because they didn't have the spring practice. So I think it's very, very important. And, as far as the staff and the players, it is our first introduction to, football, 11 on 11 with us putting a actual game plan in and watching these guys run around. And it's the closest thing we're going to get to a game. So, yeah, it's going to be very, very important. And like I said, it's a process because they're getting to know us and we're getting to know them. We know their strengths and weaknesses. We'll know them a lot better once we get out of spring practice. But I think with some of the veteran guys that we have on staff here, they've been in a lot of different systems and have had the opportunity to, obviously coach under a bunch of different coaches. So I think it's been a seamless transition with those guys. Coach Banks has done a great job of bringing in, his package and, allowing guys to kind of, fit how they see things into that package. And it's been good. And obviously we want to see how that works, going into spring practice, but everything's been great so far.
A lot of you guys in the chat talking about Henry T and Crouch and them moving on. It is what it is. We got to move forward. You're right. You guys are right. We got to move forward. We got to plug and play. What concerns me is the depth at linebacker. I mean, who are you going to get to play linebacker? And then you can look at defensive end. Are you going to have to move guys around? Are you going to have to move a Roman Harrison to defensive end? Are you going to have to move a Tyler Barron to defensive end? This defense is so thin. It's just concerning. And I'm not disagreeing with what's being said here. It is what it is. You play the guys you have. You evaluate the talent you have. You play the best players. It is what it is. I get it. You guys are right. You guys are 100% right. But it is still concerning. Let's move on.
Hit the raise your hand function, and please state your name and affiliation. We'll start with Eric Kane, and then we'll go to David Paschall.
Eric Kane, the sports animal here in Knoxville. Coach, I believe you had the opportunity to coach Tim Banks at Central Michigan. How was that experience, and how unique is it to work with him here in Tennessee?
Obviously, Tim was he was a senior when I went to Central Michigan. It was only the 1 year that I was there in 1994, so I was blessed in a sense where I got a chance to really coach a kind of a veteran group, and Tim was one of the captains, so to speak, one of the leaders on the defense, and on the team. But he was a fierce competitor, smart, tough. Obviously, had tremendous amount of playmaking ability. And it's the same year too that we won the MAC championship, and it was a special time. I had just left Grand Valley State with obviously somebody you guys know very well, Brian Kelly, and then had my opportunity to get back in the Division I. And to win a championship right off the bat, and first time there, being there, tradition there at the school, and to be a part of a team that again had really good senior leadership led by Tim Banks, and Tim was a great player, like I said, and to be around him now. Obviously, we've been friends for a long time, and the great thing about the business, the job that we have is exactly what we say in recruiting. Making an impact in their lives and helping them develop to be the men they want to be and reach their goals and dreams and aspirations. And to sit there and now be beside him and him leading the defense is obviously it's special for me, because that's one of the players I had the obviously the blessing of being able to coach. So it's kind of a cool deal.
Willie, hey, David Paschall here in Chattanooga. Hope you've been doing well. Wanted to ask, you walked into the SEC 20 years ago, and I'm just curious, what has evolved and changed the most for you coaching defensive backs? What's different about it now compared to when you were 20 years ago?
It's going to be a very popular answer. The offenses were, the speed of the game has changed. The tempo of the game has changed. That's the first thing that comes to mind. Obviously, in this league, there's a tremendous amount of great athletic players at each position, probably the best in the country, and so the talent is obviously it's great, but it's the speed. It's the tempo of the offenses, being able to try and defend the entire field, sideline to sideline. You got to play with the same personnel on the field. Used to be able to change that personnel grouping because you had time. The strategies have changed. Obviously, the rules have changed. But I would say the offenses.
David Oven and Brent Hubbs.
Lou, what do you make of the defensive backs that you're inheriting?
Well, I'm actually I've been excited. I mean, there's some guys in the room that obviously I was a part of recruiting. That's kind of neat to see and watch them through the years here and develop to be the people they've become and the players they are. But I think it's a locked-in group. I think it's a group that really, really wants to get better each and every day. I mean, it's really been an awesome experience for me and Coach Banks, obviously, in the back end. So got some leadership guys that know how to lead, guys that have the respect of their teammates. And you kind of need that in the back end, especially at the last line of defense.
And also this offense, what does it do to secondaries that allows it to have so much success throwing the ball down the field?
I'm going to take a positive to that answer, to that question. Okay. And a lot of guys will, and that's really myself evolving as a coach, especially in the secondary. The tempo of the offenses now, and the great thing about it is we get a chance to practice.
I want to bring up this point. This is a great comment from Fry because a lot of people give Willie Martinez a hard time and talk about him being a bad coach. And you can say what you want about him as a defensive coordinator, but he did put Coleman, Mosley, and Rashawn Golden into the NFL, and he gets absolutely no credit. You're right, Fry. He gets no credit for developing those guys. So I think you have to look at Willie Martinez as a position coach versus Willie Martinez as a defensive coordinator. We'll see how it plays out. Look, there's a lot of questions. We'll have to see how this staff does.
I've been a part of it now for a couple of years when I was at Oklahoma, and then obviously defending it, but also on a daily basis. Though this will be the 6th year in an offense that goes basically at warp speed. So you kind of have to be ready to go. You just can't. You're not just going to line up and practice and kind of ease your way through. Not that anybody does that, but I mean, it starts right from the beginning. The tempo is fast. It's fast in thinking, obviously along with the running part of it, but to process stuff very quickly. So to practice that every day, each period, is only going to be a positive for the defense. It's almost like you'll get to the game, and I know being a part of it is that sometimes you get these offenses that are no huddle, and they don't quite go as fast as our offense is going to be going. And so they kind of slows the game down a little bit for them. So still be in some games where, come on, man, hurry up and snap the ball, which gives them the time that they've been able to practice that process each and every day. Then when it comes to game times, it's a little bit slower for them. They can process a little bit quicker. And so that's the positive of being involved in defending this each and every day, and the mindset and kind of knowing the ins and outs and how you go about doing that. So, you focus on the things that you have to do to be successful as a defensive back. What is that? Well, once that play's over with, get yourself lined up, get yourself in a play routine, like we like to say. Identify the down and distance, identify the personnel call, identify the calls being given to you, and then get your eyes in the right spot to just define what they lined up in and where are the go-to guys, and that you got to do that all in about 6 to 7 seconds. And to be able to practice that every day, it'll be where they're going to be ready for it. It's not going to be something that's going to really bother them. So you got to pay attention to details. That's going to be important. You have to embrace the process. Don't look at it like a grind every day. Anything that you do, how you do anything is how you do everything. That's kind of like what we say. And if you are prepared and you're detailed in academics, in whoever you're meeting with, whether it's the strength coach, being early, being on time, have a plan already processed through prior to coming into that room or into that meeting, and it's only going to help you have success on the field.
All right, guys, I think that's going to wrap it up. We've pretty much gone through the full press conference there. I'm exhausted. Put in overtime today. Worked a full day and hanging out with you guys. It's been good fun. Been a lot of fun. I love seeing your opinions. I think for me, I think we just got to sit back and wait and see. We got to see how it plays out. I'm excited. I'm trying not to get too excited, but I like what this coaching staff says. But the reality of the situation is we got to wait and see how it plays out on the field. Look, I'm not muted. I'm not muted now. I can share this merchandise and you guys can hear me. It's fantastic. It's amazing. I'm not muted. Go check out this amazing merchandise that my stepbrothers put together. Great designs. The Mount Rushmore t-shirt looks great. I was a little concerned because the design is so complex, but I ordered one. It looks great in print, so I encourage you to check that out. If not, you can pick out the Talkin VAWLS mug. It's great for coffee. It's great for water or Powerade, or if you like bourbon or whiskey, it's great. Whatever you want to drink, the Talkin VAWLS mug is available. We've got the old school Talkin VAWLS hoodie as well as logo t-shirts. We've got the Egghead shirt. Spoiler alert, we're going to be dropping a new Egghead cartoon shirt that's going to feature the Indie Kid as well, so stay tuned for that. We've got my favorite logo design, which is the Talkin VAWLS State Pride merchandise. And if you're a fan of the basketball team, we've got these Vols hoop shirts. These may be the best design we have. It's old school. It's clean. It's crisp. I love it. It's fantastic. Pick it up. The Indie Kid is going to be dropping content tomorrow. He's going to be breaking down the SEC bracket. Once that's complete, he's also going to be doing an NCAA March Madness bracket breakdown. Those guys, Vols JP, the Indie Kid, and Dauber are going to be going live after pretty much every game. If they play in the afternoon, they're going to try to go live that evening. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Make sure you tune in for that. Dauber is showing up after I've been live for 2 hours. I'm losing my voice. I have to pee so bad I can't stand it. Dauber says, "What's up, man? What's going on? What are you doing? What have you been up to lately?" Kevin Bear says the same. "I'm here. What's up, Boogie? You want to talk?" I'm about to end this thing, but I'm glad you guys are here. Make sure you smash that thumbs up. If you have not done so, please smash the thumbs up on the way out the door. It helps drive the channel. This is a super chat from Sherry Darnell. Thank you so much, Sherry, for the super chat, $4.99. Enjoy the show so much. Thanks. Well, we thank you, Sherry. Thanks for that super chat. We appreciate it. Every single person that drops a super chat, picks up merchandise, or just shows up, watches the show, and hits that thumbs up, we greatly appreciate it. Christopher says, "Love the shirts. So comfortable." Yeah, they are. They really are. They really are great shirts. And that's why, we had thought about switching to a different company, but I think Bonfire does a great job. Great quality t-shirts, sweatshirts, everything. I love what they do. So check out the merch. The link is in the description below. And if you do pick up merchandise, do me a favor, man. Tweet it out. Tweet out a picture, whether you're wearing a t-shirt or a sweatshirt or some type of merch. Tweet it out. Post it on Facebook. Tag us in it. You can see our social media scrolling across the bottom of the screen. Give us all a follow on Twitter. We would greatly appreciate it. But I think that's it. I think that's going to wrap it up for this episode. We've gone almost 2 hours. 2 hours. This is crazy. But I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. It's been good fun watching the press conference with you guys. Again, if you haven't done so, please hit that thumbs up on the way out the door. For the Talkin VAWLS Network, my name is Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.
The songs howl like me, poets sat in our chains, soaking moonlit falls, unbroken past this inundated orb that we draw home, and it's night and I'm alone and